Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez.
And I'm Kevin Friel. We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You can log on at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
The Planning Board on Monday night held a public hearing on the implementing regulations for the Craigville Beach District of Critical Planning Concern, which was recently redesignated by the Cape Cod Commission. There was little disagreement on the regulations during last night's session, but Long Beach Association President Jack Driscoll and others from that neighborhood prefer that the area be rezoned without the Cape Cod Commission's involvement.
We worked, I guess, long and hard on the on the DCPC, and last September, when I guess on September 3rd, Councilor Crocker talked about being able to convert the DCPC into a zoning document. A lot of us, while we had agreed with the DCPC, we were told that it couldn't be converted into a zoning document. And then Councilor Crocker said it was, so it got us started. And we represent about 70 homes on Long Beach and Short Beach Homes Road, and there's about only 4 full-time residents. The rest are summer residents. We started looking at this issue, and we became, quite intrigued with it. And one of the things that we thought we'd really like to do before we go ahead with the DCPC is to look and see whether it could be. I mean, I had a long conversation with my attorney last week about this, and he feels, quite strongly that this is something that can be done. And I mean, the advantage that it gives you is it does keep grandfathering in place, and that was one of the issues we argued about for quite some time. But the thing that it also does is it keeps local control with the town rather than transferring it to the Cape Cod Commission. And when we saw the document that the Cape Cod Commission had come up with, if we didn't pass our, the other document, it got a lot of people concerned. And so we feel that we'd like to take a time period and look at trying to convert the DCPC into a zoning document, because that's something we'd prefer to have rather than the DCPC.
On the other hand, Centerville Civic Association President Meg Loughran argued that years of work have been put into developing an agreeable set of regulations for the DCPC, and that it's imperative for the town to pass them this time.
I can't tell you how many meetings we've had, how much communication there's been. And I think everybody would agree that there was plenty of opportunity for everybody to have their say. If this ordinance is defeated and sent to the Cape Cod Commission for action, aren't we really saying that we can't take care of our own zoning? Because believe me, they then have the right to do what they think. And my particular opinion is that after having designated it twice, they're not going to turn their back on it. They see this barrier beach as a fragile resource that needs to be protected. And I don't know about you, but I would be pretty embarrassed if that's what happened, if we weren't able to reach consensus on this and pass this through the town ourselves. My appeal to you is to please vote on this based on the desire of all of these people who care so deeply about protecting this precious resource. It's going to take courage to do the right thing, but I really hope you will. Thank you.
Later, Planning Board member Ray Lang asked for clarifications from Growth Management Director Joanne Miller-Buntage and Town Attorney Ruth Weil about how easy it would be to abandon the DCPC in favor of local zoning. He also asked Cape Cod Commission Representative Roy Richardson to answer to the perception that the Cape Cod Commission interferes with town affairs.
I'll speak to the work part of it, and Ruth can talk to you about the legal part. With all due respect to Professor Rickman, it may very well be that this could be a zoning ordinance, but we've never approached it that way, and so I would need to start over again before I could arrive at the same conclusion. Not to be difficult, but just to be thorough and responsible. I mean, an implementing regulation for a district of critical planning concern interacts with the rest of the zoning ordinance in a different way. So we just have to, make those assessments and understand how it would work. So I think we would have a way to begin it. But again, just to be clear, it's what's before the planning board and what's been advertised as your public hearing and what the process you're engaged in is that you are hearing comment on the District of Critical Planning Concern implementing regulations. And it's not just simply by a vote that you can say, well, we're not going to do that, we're going to do zoning. The DCPC process is engaged, it's by ordinance of the county, and it has to be completed one way or another. This can't just all of a sudden change to a zoning process.
And dovetailing on what Joanne's saying, as I indicated before, this district is a district of critical planning concern by ordinance by the county. It remains in effect for 12 months. We don't want it to remain in effect, but if the town council didn't pass implementing regs within that 12-month period, then the commission could act.
Are we in our second 12 months now?
Yes, because you're in your second DCP.
We're in our second nomination, so it's actually one 12-month period per. Okay, so this is the same 12 months for the second one. Mr. Lang.
Madam Chair, with your permission, our representative to the Cape Cod Commission is here, and I would like him to respond to the feeling that the Cape Cod Commission is not a friendly advocate to local and community concerns. And I know Mr. Richardson has been a councilor here for many years and involved in our government, and he is our representative, and I'd like to hear from him as to whether or not he feels the Cape Cod Commission usurps authorities of towns or tries to work with them, because I think that I know you well enough to know that you try to do the latter.
My experience with the Cape Cod Commission has been, I've served a full 3-year term, and I've seen many people from the business community, construction community, and also has come before the commission with ideas that they needed to, have Cape Cod Commission input on. And I think it's very important to remember that the Cape Cod Commission is not a group to make life miserable for people, even though I think some people feel that's true. But the Cape Cod Commission's primary focus is to help us protect the resources and the community character that we all cherish so much. And I don't think there's anybody in this room that I know who couldn't be in favor of that.
Ultimately, the planning board voted to recommend that the town council approve the implementing regulations for the DCPC. Now, let's take a look at the meeting schedule for the rest of this week. For Tuesday, January 12th at 8 a.m., the Housing Committee meets in the Selectmen's Conference Room. At 8:30 in the morning, the Conservation Commission meets in the Town Hall Hearing Room. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Board of Health meets in the Town Hall Hearing Room. Then at 7 o'clock, the School Committee meets in the Town Hall Hearing Room. For Wednesday, January 13th at 7 o'clock, the Zoning Board of Appeals has a hearing in the Town Hall Hearing Room. Also at 7 o'clock, the Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee meets at the West Barnstable Community Building on Route 149. There are no meetings scheduled for Thursday, January 14th or Friday, January 15th.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. For Kevin Friel, I'm Nick Cortez. We'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.